Hello everyone, it's GrumpyGamer. Welcome back to another Tekkit tutorial. Today we're going to be showing you how to make an elevator using frame motors. Now this is a request. I actually did this before in my Let's Play series and somebody requested I did more of a tutorial on it. So here we go, this is it. Now first thing you'll notice, this right here, there's two floors. This is the ground floor right here and this is the top floor. Now the reason I had to build the ground floor way up in the air is because I'm in a test world and I'm just a few blocks above bedrock. This design requires me to dig downwards beneath the ground floor, and so that's why I had to build the ground floor up here. Now first of all, here's the elevator shaft right here. This shaft right here, there's two frame motors. They move it up and down, and at the top there's a platform. Let me show you how this works. On each floor there's an up button and a down button. Let me hit the down button and this thing is going to come all the way down. Now there's a height difference of 9 blocks. That's important and I'll go into that in a little while. We just need to note that there's 9 blocks between the floor. So basically we need to know to send 9 pulses to the frame motors to make the thing move up and down. So let's move this back up so that we can come down here. Now first thing I want to note is that the platform of the elevator, you actually got to put covers all the way around it, especially on the top. Well, top, I don't guess it really matters, but sides definitely. If you don't put them on the sides, that platform will stick to the walls. Now this whole thing right here and the platform, they're built with support frames, and support frames stick to each other and to anything else. So I don't want these support frames sticking to the walls. What happens if they stick to the walls? The elevator won't be able to move up and down. Now I cover them up with these things right here. They're just cobblestone covers. You can use any kind of cover. So you cut stuff up with your saw and make covers and then place it all the way around the platform. Now the shaft doesn't touch anything, so I didn't have to put anything there except for at the very bottom, because when this thing goes all the way down it's touching bedrock, and I don't want it sticking to the bedrock because then it'll be jammed. So let me show you how this works. We have our power supply here. The frame motors need power, so we got red power to solar panels, blue alloy wire, battery box, and more blue alloy wire, and it goes up in there and it actually touches the sides of the frame motors. Here's the frame motor, so as you can see they're getting electrical power, and to make them actually move you need to give them pulses of redstone signal. So if you look at that wire, that's just red alloy wire, and right here I got diamond cover strips, and that keeps these two red alloy wires from connecting. They're uninsulated wires, so they would connect to themselves there. And so I'm using 4 colors of wire here. I'm using white, yellow, blue, and green. And so the white wire is the up button, the yellow wire is the down button, the blue wire is the down motor, and the green wire is the up motor. And this circuit right here, it's almost completely identical to the tutorial I did on the automated sunroof here. Now the automated sunroof, it closes at night or when it rains and opens during sunny weather. So here's the control circuit for it. Now the only difference is this one right here is using a light sensor because we're using light to control whether that door opens or closes. Over here we're using buttons. So here's how you do it with buttons. Now on each floor, if you notice, I have a white wire and a yellow wire, and so either set of buttons can operate the setup here. So right here, this is an RS latch, so we had to replace the light sensor with an RS latch. Now the RS latch is kind of like a memory cell. Best way to think of it, it has an input and an output. Now as you can see right here, this line right here is red, or it's on, and this side is off. So the off side is always an input and the on side is always an output. And so this thing remembers the last button I pushed. The last button I pushed was white, so the last button I pushed was the up button. And as you can see that this line is on here. That doesn't really matter, so this is something to note. So basically this RS latch takes a momentary pulse and turns it into a constant signal. So when we push that button, it only activates for, I don't know, half a second or a second, but this RS latch will remember that the button was pushed, and it keeps that line on. But anyway, here's the input and here's the output. Now if I hit the yellow button, the yellow line is the input right now. Let's see what happens. Go back up here. What did I say? Which one? Yellow. That's down button. Alright, so I hit that, and as you notice, the yellow wire went from low to high, and the white button went from high to low. Now, a couple things to note. A couple other things that happen is the inputs and the outputs swapped. So this is the input now, and this is the output. And so if I was to actually hit the yellow button again right now, nothing would happen. It would just ignore it because this line's already latched high. That's why they call it a latch, because it just latches and it just hangs up and remembers that you hit the yellow button last. But other thing that happened is this line right here switched from high to low. Now over here, this is our transition detector. From this point onwards, this circuit's identical to that one. So I'm not going to get into too much detail of this. I'm just going to briefly go over it. If you want a more detailed explanation, then I would recommend watching the automated roof tutorial. But anyway, this is the transition detector. This little square right here, there's 3 logic gates right here. There's 2 pulse formers, that's these, and then there's a NOT gate. Basically, these things put out a pulse whenever it detects a transition on the input. So whenever this thing switches from low to high or high to low, these things put out a momentary pulse. And these pulses right here, they turn on this state cell, and a state cell set to 9 seconds. So whenever they get a pulse, this thing turns on for 9 seconds and sends its signal through this NOT gate and into this timer. The state cell turns on the timer for 9 seconds. Now, the reason we turn it on for exactly 9 seconds, the timer is set for 1 second. So the timer puts out a pulse to the motors every 1 second. And since we have it on for 9 seconds, it's going to send out 9 pulses, which is the difference between the height of the 2 floors. And finally, we don't want to send this pulse to both motors at the same time, because at both motors going at the same time, you're kind of spinning your wheels. So we want to be able to turn on just the blue or just the green. So let me show you how we do that. Over here with AND gates again. Now, as recall from previous videos, the AND gate's a control. I'm using it for a control signal. So basically, the only way, here's the timer, it comes out and goes through this AND gate and this AND gate, but the only way the signal will pass through to the green or the blue is if the side input is on. And so since this side input is on, the blue wire gets the pulses right now. And so, like, let's say right now the blue is the down button, so I'd want to hit the up button. Let me show you what happens. If I hit the white button, that's the up button. That's going to make the bottom motor activate because that's the up motor. So let's go ahead and hit that. And we'll see what happens here. Okay, now you can see the bottom motor is the up motor. It's getting pulses, and you can see right here the pulse from the timer is passing through and going into here, and this AND gate is on right now, so that's the reason it's getting the signal. Now, one final thing to note here is this design. This could easily be converted to use as a drawbridge. Let me show you how that works. Let's pretend like this is a road right here. Now, I was too lazy to make the whole thing, but basically pretend like that's lava or water or whatever, or a deep pit. But this would be your drawbridge right here, and use the same exact circuitry to make it work. The only difference is on either end of the drawbridge, you're going to put an up-down. Instead of putting up-down button, you're just going to label them like open or close, or retract, deploy, that kind of thing. And the only other difference is that instead of moving the frames vertically, you're going to move them horizontally. You're basically going to move them the same way you did over here. So basically, you'd build this thing right here, the automated sunroof, except for the input. Instead of using just a light sensor, you'd have to build all these buttons and the RS latch and that kind of thing. But anyway, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I know some people may already know how to use elevators, some people not. But if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It helps my channel, and it also lets me know that if you enjoy it, if a video gets a lot of likes, I know to do more videos of that type. So hope you found this useful and informative. Grumpy Gamer didn't I just turn off rain like 10 seconds ago? This is ridiculous. I swear it rains more in my world, this test world, than any world I've ever been on. But anyway, this is Grumpy Gamer. We'll see you next time.